So, some more moments. Let's add a new display. Let's make it on the contrary, in the router. Question about the reverse relief in the Artcam. You see, this is how you can change. So, look, you can do it otherwise. Let's create two layers. We, for example, have a volume. For processing on CNC machines, the reverse relief. The reverse relief needs to be converted into the front relief, and then only make a trajectory for processing, but as a model to look at, or somewhere to use as a three-dimensional model for printing, or somewhere else to set up, for example, or for other purposes besides processing. It is quite possible to do without using full-fledged 3D packages. Well, now I will show in more detail further. If you are interested, look. There I will show two examples. One example on the left, where I saw a question from a person. On a simpler example. If you have any questions, please ask. I will answer them in the comments. Enjoy your viewing. I've released a video on my channel about creating an Estavo, and I've used reverse relief there. And I just remembered that someone asked me to show them how to create reverse relief. But I decided to expand my answer and provide some additional information. I create a front relief and a reverse relief for the same purpose, to see how it will look in 3D. Look, here we will create a model mesh, and here we specify to close with a reverse relief. When creating a mesh, the reverse relief will be red, and we will get a 3D model. Let's make it look like this, and we get a side view, and we see that we're satisfied with everything. But the thing is, we can save this thing as a three-dimensional model. Let's say it's a model for a 3D printer, or for game development, or for inserting it into a game. Let's save it as an raster, as a 3D model. I'll explain why later. Now, we need to create and process the reverse relief. I'm doing it wrong when I create a reverse relief. I'm creating a reverse relief as a front relief. Let me show you. So, to create this reverse relief, I'm using it as a front relief. I don't need such a reverse relief for this kind of processing. Well, let's try this. Let's combine the relief into one layer and try to change it. As you can see, it doesn't invert in the opposite direction. And I don't know how to do it, because I always use this part as the front relief for machining. Well, let's try this. Let's combine the relief into one layer and try to change it. As you can see, it doesn't invert in the opposite direction. And I don't know how to do it, because I always use this part as the front relief for machining. Look, we saved the model. Let me delete it and create a new relief layer here. Load the 3D model that we created earlier. Flip the model 180 degrees and insert it. We need the front side, so let me delete it here, create a new layer, and insert the reverse relief. Here is the reverse relief. To close this point, we can add a layer. This is how we can process the back side of our model. I show you the area where the blank is located and calculate it. This is how it was processed. This is the volume we need to create the reverse side. Now I want to show you a simple example. Let's create a new document. Let's create a circle and display it as a sphere. Now, let's change it and close it. Look, if I create a mesh with a reverse relief, it won't create anything. I'll do the same on the reverse relief. Create down, change, close, and fix the reverse relief mesh. We'll get a sphere, or we can do it differently. I'll show you. Let me create a new layer and a mesh that will cover with a reverse relief. The model is being calculated. What other moments might there be? Let's add a new layer and make it concave instead. So, look, we can do it differently. Let's create a new layer. For example, we have a volume. I want to create a 1mm wall, 1mm inward. Or let's take 10 more and make a bulge on the back layer. First, let's add a convexity instead of a concavity. When creating a mesh from a convexity, we get a mold forecasting. Or we can do it in another way. I'll show you. Let's remove the visibility of the relief. We only have a front lift, and we're making it like a mesh. But we need to make it with an offset, with a thickness of 10mm. Let's say a 10mm wall, or a pillar, or some kind of master model forecasting. And we must now get a form with a wall thickness of 10mm. But I'm showing these techniques to demonstrate how a three-dimensional model is created.